to session 7. This is a session that I've been excited about getting to. I'm an animator. I love to talk about characters and what they can bring to storytelling. How do we bring out their emotions through poses and expression? We're going to talk about this in this session, but a quick commercial. If you guys haven't seen it already, I did another tutorial for 21 Draw before this one, and it was all on creating poses for characters and expressions and poses, and what to do with them and how to push those expressions and characters, those poses, so they really had the best silhouette value, that they had really good storytelling to them. It's going to help what we're talking about in our visual storytelling really take it to the next level. So I'll talk about some of those elements here, but if you haven't seen my creating character poses with personality tutorial that I did earlier, I really recommend that you pick that up and check that out, maybe even right now. So let's go into session 7 and we'll talk about how expressions and poses can really help push our storytelling as visual storytellers. And here we are. Yes, for me as an animator, I love this session because we're going to talk about poses and expression for characters. Usually in the work that we do as cartoonists, as artists, illustrators, children's book authors, whatever it is, storyboards or directing, whatever you're doing in the way of illustration, you're telling stories, and characters are the main element that we tell our stories through. That's where our audience creates empathy, they connect, they make the most connection with our characters. So how they're posed, the expressions that they have can really communicate a lot about what the story is, right? Because they're the center element, oftentimes the focal point, as we learned in our last session. So let's talk about this, using poses, how we can push things a little bit more so we can get the most of our characters and our poses. I'm going to show you some examples along the way from some of my own work. So choosing the right expression pose can make your storytelling stronger, right? We just talked about that. And in this piece here, I'm showing you my first ink pass here where I had a different expression on the boy. Yes, it's a fart gag, the traditional fart gag. And I can't even remember what I did this for, but I had fun doing it. And I actually created a watercolor painting out of it. But in the first one over here on the left, I had a different expression and his hand position was in a different position too. And it looked like he was surprised, right? But it didn't really connect to him knowing that he's being watched at all. It was just about him, and therefore my storytelling was off because it made it all about him. He wasn't recognizing that and connecting with anybody else, or that he's being spied on. This one in the final I changed. So you can see how I put his hand on his chin and this concerned look. He's biting his bottom lip and he's looking back towards the woman. So he knows he's caught. There's that like, oops, that kind of coy little, oh gosh, somebody caught me farting. And to me, this has a lot more charm in the storytelling. I do like this drawing on the left. I do like the expression, but it doesn't tell the whole story of somebody spying on him and he knows it, right? Which adds a different tension to the story. All right, here's another little rough sketch that I did. Sometimes I like to doodle in a sketch pad or something like that with ballpoint pen. So this is a little gnome character that I drew, and I wanted him really relaxed, and he's just kind of kicking back in the forest on a little bed of mushrooms, right? And I really wanted it to be about his weight, his heaviness. So in the pose, I really pushed that sense of this arc down here of his back and his lower torso that is really curved here. You can feel that curve. I still accentuated a nice belly shape here, but I just really, and I overlapped the legs in a way so it looked like he was crossing his legs. You could feel the weight of this hand being brought down, even the shoulder that's coming up because it's pushing up against his neck and his cheek a little bit, and then really trying to showcase the fun of this swirly, little element here as it goes down. And then also look at the nice arc through here. I curved all of the elements this way and this way to create a bit of a circular vignette here too. We talked about that earlier. I really just wanted to push that feeling of relaxed. And I think I did here in that, but if you have that challenge where you're creating a story about a character being relaxed, push the pose, really push it, okay? Let's go to the next one. So silhouette is a really important element too when we're talking about posing characters. These examples here on the right compared to the left are good examples of clear silhouette value. Now, so again, the ones on the left are not good silhouettes, and sometimes they might look like decent poses when we draw them in our sketch and put them in an environment, but the real test with silhouette value is oftentimes to darken them in. And when we darken the poses, we could see that the ones on the left, because there's elements of, like with the girl, her ponytails are more interior, same with this, the leg is overlapping here and the arm that's interior. The dog is completely unsuccessful. You can't tell what he's holding hardly at all if you squint your eyes. And same thing with this like magician pose here, ta-da, you know, the greeting pose. A lot is lost there by just not turning him a little bit more. But when you turn him, look at how the arms are clear silhouettes. There's negative space that crops in, that separates out the positive shapes. And that's what really good clear silhouette posing does, is it separates the positive from the negative, and we see appendages and we see elements that pop out from the figure. I really love the dog. Just by completely turning the dog to be more profile, now we get a really clear silhouette of that gift, that present that he is presenting, right? So think about your silhouette when you're posing your characters, and it'll help sell the pose a lot more. This is where I'm going to talk about iterations. We've mentioned it before, but even when we're doing our poses, I always try and look for the best clear pose, good silhouette value. I like to redraw things and explore the concept in my mind. Here's a little one with the doodles that I did of these two mouse characters. One's kind of a big bully mouse. The other one, at least the first idea here, number one, was that he was kind of subservient to this scarier guy with a lot of teeth. And he's offering him, you know, a prize or, you know, kind of a fee of some cheese. And he's like, for me, kind of thing. And then I decided to change the pose altogether of kind of the tall one and make it truly innocent. You know, he's like, oh my gosh, for me. And then now look at this great directional line here. In a lot of ways, I think this one, number two, is the most successful. Although there's a lot I like about 3 too, because in 3, I didn't like how in number 2 there wasn't clear silhouette value with both arms going the same direction. So in 3, I brought one arm down and really just extended out the fingers and the arm length. Look at that negative space now. Remember we talked about negative space? Look at how it clearly goes around there. If I was to shade this in, you would see very clear poses. The only thing that could maybe be improved is getting this arm away from his waist a little bit, maybe more like that, so there's some negative space in there. That might help a little bit. So I don't know. I'm really torn actually. Even now as I look at it, there's certain things I like about number 2 and number 3. I also like in number 3, I really cheated in that other eye there by turning his head a little bit, which I kind of like, being able to see both eyes. It helps with the eye direction towards the cheese. So for me, 2 and 3 are the most successful for different reasons. There's something I really like about his look in the profile here. I like this directional element of his body kind of shoving forward, but I probably would clarify the posing on the hands just to be more like this. So I would probably go back and do a 4th version if I was working on this for a final. Okay, guys, we are at assignment number 7 now. Assignment number 7. So let's do a little drawing here. Let me pop on my camera. Okay, we are at assignment number 7, guys. Assignment number 7. Here we go. And I'm going to do a little drawing over this too. But what I want you guys to do at home is find one of your older drawings and try and fix it. It could be something from a sketch pad. It could be something we've worked on in our sessions here for visual story development. But I want you to push it, okay, in some way. Really concentrate on the character in this standpoint. In this case, I want you to try and push that. I'm going to pause for a second. You guys find yours, start working on it, and then I'll do an example. And we're back. Okay. So I like this little drawing. It's something I did in Procreate. Again, it's that little mermouse that I showed you guys before. I like this has layers to it, so there's a real clear foreground that's darker in front. He's a mid-ground, and there's a soft background. And really get the idea that he's in the ocean. He's on the ocean floor. We can see that here. I think this would look nice if I was to finish it in color. I rarely do color. I need to do more color in the future. But I feel like I'm still learning so much about tones and values by keeping things in black and white. And I just love to draw more than I love to paint. But the gag here is really that he is an underwater mouse, and instead of finding pearls inside of this clam, he finds cheese, which is weird, I admit. But what I don't like is I want to push this expression a little bit more on his cheek. I'd love to bring this eye and this cheek up higher. I want to get a sense that it's really pushed. So I'm gonna start with this expression here, and then I know that I could. I think I'm going to push this mouth to a little bit more back. I'm drawing in red. I like to do that oftentimes when I'm making a correction on something, then because again it's contrast, I can see the change a little bit more. And then ultimately I'll probably turn this off. Turn off the bottom one so I can see what that looks like. And the contrast, I'm going to make this cheek a little lower so that this one fills higher in contrast to the lower one. We'll see what this looks like in just a minute. I think I might change this eyebrow too to be a little bit more lower. Again, it's about contrast, so both eyebrows don't look the same or doing the same thing, right? The other thing I want to do is I don't like the silhouette value here of the cheese. So I think what I'm going to do is, I like that he's kind of stuffing it. He had just stuffed it in his mouth, but I think I can really kind of move this out and back a little bit more and showcase a bite here. But I need to move it away from his chest a little bit. You know what might be cute is, I think I'm gonna, just like we did with that mouse when we were just talking about, I think I'll just relax this arm over here so that it's not part of the drama with the cheese at all. And that way it'll be kind of a secondary read. I'll just get it out of the way a little bit and make it more about the other one. All right, so now I'm going to turn off the underdrawing. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, so that's kind of fun. See how I'm like really pushing up this cheek here. And he's chewing. Now I've really pushed that cheek over here a little bit more. It's affecting the eye, so it's pushing up on that eye now, whereas before it wasn't. Now we're pushing things, right? Let's see what else our forgot in this design he's got a muzzle. But now look at the cheese too, and how that has been really cleared up now too. I don't love how he's holding it. I might change this a little bit. And I don't really love the tilt of the cheese. I think I still want it to feel like it was pointing towards his mouth. So the nice thing about Photoshop, we could just highlight it and I can turn it in. But I need to find a way to directionally turn it towards him, but also keep it clear with his hand. That's a little bit of a sticky wicket, a little tough one, but through iterations and changes, I could probably find the right solution. And maybe what that is to bring his elbow and his arm out here. Is that weird? Yeah, that's weird. That's awkward. It's got to feel relaxed and simple and natural. So I'm just going to put it down here. He's got a thumb here. Yeah. So he's kind of cradling it down here now. I'm just going to have his arm. Actually, I'm just going to draw his belly coming straight down here. And we won't even see the other shoulder. Maybe we'll just see the arm coming out from behind there. We could add a little bit of shoulder there. But yeah, I think that's better. So I think you can see what we did now. We've got negative space around here now. He's going to be holding it. I probably should not worry about this thumb here because it's on the other side. Yeah. Okay, so look at that. Look what we did. We've pushed the pose, we pushed the expression. So that's like a, you know, a medium expression, but we wanted it to be even more funny and comic and stuff. So I would probably fix this area here and have it just be a bulge that comes up like that. I didn't like that weird S shape. So that's nice. And you know, this arm down, it's a little less distracting. I could even lower this a little bit more if I wanted to. But I really like this silhouette now, and there's a real directional element too that we did with the cheese pointing up to his face, and it makes this gag really work too. Fun little guy. I like drawing him. He's coming to life. All right. So we did that, guys. That was fun. Push your work. Always iterate. Find new ways to push the expressions and the storytelling in your work.